Wait a minute. That's not the right sheet music. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it. No, that's not it either. Deck the halls. Where's my? Oh, here it is. I got it. Here we go. All right, we're all straightened away now. Silver bells. Yes, the only Christmas song that no matter who plays it, who sings it, in whatever shape, form, or manner, it always sounds like you're half in a bag. And somebody messed up my sheet music here. I got it straightened away. Hey, hello, and welcome to the PJH Writing Command Center for another podcast episode from God Bless the Keg Publishing LLC. I'm going to put the finely tuned instrument aside here, and we're thrilled you're here to join us for this podcast episode. And here we are on the Saturday before Christmas, a Saturday afternoon, and we've had a brilliant day here. We got our chores done, and we got the Christmas tree lit up. We've got the ornament hanging on the goalie mask. We've got the Christmas village lit. We got pine cones and holly berries around the front window of the Writing Command Center. I'm not going to play that song. And we had some Saturday afternoon matinee ice hockey, Rangers versus Flyers, exciting game. It went into a shootout in overtime with a Rangers win. Guys hitting the crossbar, exciting, fantastic Saturday afternoon matinee hockey before Christmas. So we're just thrilled you're here to join us. I am John Hausleben. I am the flagship author, chief photographer, music reviewer, music critic, and in this podcast episode, I'm a video critic. A little twist on the very popular Rated series, which is usually music. And I'm the chief cook, bottle washer, do everything guy here at God Bless the Keg Publishing, with a little help from my friends. And some of my friends are here. We listened on the radio together, and it was equally split crowd here between Philadelphia Flyers and the Rangers. So we had a little bit of debate going on here. One guy drank too much. He fell asleep. So he was a bit of a loudmouth. So we're happy that he fell asleep. And we had a great time at the hockey game. So we're thrilled you're here to join us. If you are a first-time tuner-inner, if that's even a word, then welcome. If you're a long-time listener and a subscriber, then welcome back. And we are happy you're here to join us for this Rated series, a special Christmas series on, we've done music. We did the golden age of music for Christmas. We did, the most annoying. That's a popular podcast. A lot of debate about the most annoying Christmas songs. And then we did the 5 Christmas songs that are least played and overlooked by the mainstream media. So we've had a blast here. And this Rated series deep dives into one of my favorite things of all time. And that's the great Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. So we'll dissect that and get into that. But first, we've got to get our little Orphan Annie decoder pins out. And it's that time of year when the little Orphan Annie decoder pin is key to the Christmas story. And I'll be honest, I usually do these things in one take, and I so messed up the podcast sponsor blurb that I laughed so hard I had to... I was going to let it go and not edit it out, but I had to. It was profoundly messed up. But anyway, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Corporate Facilities Group Incorporated. I hope I don't laugh too. Please, I'm sorry. The leader in technical consulting, facilities maintenance, facilities management and operations, as well as property maintenance and management services throughout America. And now, CFG Incorporated is proud to announce a new department, a new initiative headed up by the amazing Mr. Steve McMillan. So let's wake the guy up over there and let's all give Steve a round of applause. Steve brings as many years of experience as he manages pre-construction services and estimating for residential development, residential renovations, and light commercial projects for CFG Incorporated. So, before you spend big bucks on a project, let old Steve Aruski check out the contractor's scope and price to make sure your hard-earned money is going in exactly the right place. Don't get schnookered at Christmas time. We got the Scrooges. We're going to talk about the Scrooges today. So, check them out on the web, www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. That's www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. And you can also click on the little link koozie in the podcast episode website and let the magic of the internet take you to CFG's website. So, many thanks to Lydia, Steve, Liliana, Summer the doggy, and Smokey the kitty cat at CFG Incorporated for sponsoring this podcast. We thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah. And we always try to get to announcement on a charity event, a not-for-profit, a goodwill initiative, and announce it here on the podcast. And we received a number of them. I'm sorry I missed the deadlines, but it is a weekly podcast, which I generally record on Saturdays and Sundays. So you want to keep that in mind when you send me an announcement to make, because sometimes I'm receiving these guys and the dates have already passed. So I'm proud to do this and happy to do it for any not-for-profit special event, goodwill event. So this one hits close to home. My old stomping grounds, Advent Lutheran Church, the great Advent Lutheran at 777 Wyckoff Avenue, Wyckoff, New Jersey. We have a zip of 07481, and they have a special event tomorrow. So December 21st at 11 a.m., Christmas in the Parsonage. Join us for a celebration of the season. This year, we'll be doing a radio play-style reading of A Charlie Brown Christmas. Oh, everybody's favorite. Enjoy food, drink, and most of all, each other's company. Advent Lutheran Church tomorrow, December 21st at 11 a.m., 777 Wyckoff Ave, Wyckoff, New Jersey. I love you guys. Been a long time since I've been home there, and that was my home church, and fantastic. Area code 201. 891-1031 if you need any information. And on the web, it's adventlutheranwyckoff.org. So that's Christmas in the Parsonage. Looks like a great event. Charlie Brown Christmas. We all love Charlie Brown. So there you go. If you have any special events, you have some charity events, goodwill, you want Paulie to read it on the podcast, just be aware of the dates and send it to godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. And if you are interested in being a sponsor for the podcast, same email, godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. Send it ahead. And Paulie's all, I'm from New Jersey. I love to make a deal. So send it ahead to me, and we'll take a look at it and see if we're a match and get that going for you. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much. So here we go with the rated series. And this is going to be the 5 best video versions of the classic Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. Now, a little disclaimer. I don't want to be a snobberooski about A Christmas Carol, but Paulie loves A Christmas Carol. And I make no bones about it, mention it many times in my writings, in my podcasts, in my speeches, my talks with buddies. Charles Dickens is my favorite author. And in my opinion, he's the greatest author, writer, novelist, short story writer of all time. Hands down. In my opinion, nobody touches Charles Dickens. And he's my favorite, and A Christmas Carol is my favorite story of all time. I think it's so profound and so impactful on not only Christmas, but society. And my hope is, coming up we have a schedule. We're doing this podcast today. It's the Saturday before Christmas, and then on Christmas Eve, I hope to record it before, but maybe I have to do it right on Christmas Eve. We're going to do our special holiday, our special Christmas podcast, and this year it'll be a retelling of the short story, "The Christmas Tree," which I actually wrote when I was 16 and a half years old. One of the first stories I ever wrote, along with "The Time Bomb in the Cupboard." And we are going to do a retelling. It's a famous old man story, everybody's favorite character, the old man, right? Everybody's favorite. And the old man, based upon a real adventure we had when my old man decided that it was time to ditch the old fake tree, as he called it, the fake Christmas tree, and we were going to go out and get a real tree, and all the misadventures that occurred. So that's going to be our Christmas Eve special holiday podcast for Christmas. And then, we celebrate the 12 days of Christmas here. We got Boxing Day, and then we got Christmas Saturday. So I hope to maybe do a deep dive and dissect the actual story of A Christmas Carol. And it's a story I know so well, and I do read it every Christmas Eve from cover to cover. And it's a tradition of mine to sit down with a nice glass of scotch, maybe 3 fingers, and pour in a Glencairn glass and enjoy what is my favorite story of all time. And a few years back, I believe it was 2021, I wrote a number of Christmas books and Christmas short stories over the years, and pretty much for a number of years in a row, around Christmas time, I would always release a Christmas book. So I got to the year 2021, and I got the idea to do a retelling and kind of sort of write with my writing hero. And I put a Charles Dickens bio in the book and made it like we collaborated, and to a certain extent we certainly did. And I sat down and wrote A New Jersey Christmas Tale, which is loosely based on the framework, of course, on A Christmas Carol. And I based it in the 1970s in Paterson, New Jersey, my old home city. So, and it was a huge hit. And I'm very, very touched, because every Christmas season since then, folks, they email me and tell me how reading a New Jersey Christmas Tale has become a family tradition. In many cases, they read it Christmas Eve like I do on the original Dickens, and that's very touching. But the number one feedback I received was, "Hey, Paulie, why did you call it A New Jersey Christmas Tale? Why did you call it A New Jersey Christmas Carol?" And I don't know why. I just like the sound. I guess I'm like John Anderson of Yes, and his profound lyrics, the prog rock band Yes. And Anderson would stick these lyrics in there, and just because he liked the sound of them. And I think I like the sound of A New Jersey Christmas Tale. I like the word tale. Anyway, I received so much feedback. So a few years, rewind to I think 2 years ago, and I had taken this college course online, a creative writing course, and it was a dissection of a series of lectures on A Christmas Carol. And it was really well done. And as well as I thought I knew that story, when I listened to these lectures and took the little quizzes and everything and passed the course, I was like, wow, I'm amazed. I did not know 3/4 of what the professor was unveiling to me. And it was fabulous, and it was an eye-opener for me. So when I got done with that course, I sat down. It was maybe right after Thanksgiving of that year, and I wrote this long essay, this piece on my own thoughts and my own dissections of A Christmas Carol. And then I had this piece, it might have been 20 pages, I don't remember. And I was like, I wonder what I do with this thing. Do I put it on the God Bless the Cake Publishing website as like a essay, or what do I do with it? So I got the idea because so many folks were saying, geez, Paul, it should be a New Jersey Christmas Carol. So I repackaged the original New Jersey Christmas Tale, and I put this piece I wrote, the dissection, and I put some fun stuff in there, some rated stuff and some funny stuff about Christmas and some thoughts. and I packaged it together. I designed the cover myself, and then I called it a New Jersey Christmas Carol, and it was like a special edition. So both of those books are available. So I'm not going to be a snobberooski, but I do know this story very well, and as I said, it's my favorite. I have a book, Ye Old Bookshop. It's a novella, and I wrote it. I want to say in 2016 or 2018, somewhere in there. And it has a character who owns a bookshop, and it's called Ye Old Bookshop, and he has English roots like myself, and it's set in the old neighborhood of Harry and Paul, and it's got a lot of humor and a lot of satire in there, and it also has a little romance, a little Christmas romance, and it's a very popular. Folks have called it an enchanting Christmas story, but the main character Chadwick, he's kind of winding his business down, and his bookshop is failing, and the big malls are taking over. But every Christmas Eve, he sits and reads a Christmas carol. And I stole that from my own practice. So there we go. So we are going to deep dive now into a Christmas Carol, and there is a movie out there, The Man Who Invented Christmas, and just the impact of Dickens on a Christmas, the Christmas celebration. And Christmas was kind of fading away back then in his day, and in fact, the Puritans, when they came to America, there were a lot of religious groups that outlawed the celebration of Christmas because it was associated as being pagan. But certainly Dickens, in this classic story, resurrected Christmas. So if you could check out that movie, it's really cool, The Man Who Invented Christmas. And to a great extent, that little film is absolutely correct, and I agree with it. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas as it is now without a Christmas Carol. Its impact on Christmas and society. I mean, even to this day, right? I deal with a lot of business people and a lot of real shrewd business guys, and some are mean and some are happy and mean at the same time. Some are great businessmen. And, if you're a grumpy Gus, you're kind of labeled as a Scrooge, right? and I think that's the magic of Dickens. He introduces so many memorable characters, not only in A Christmas Carol. I mean, think about it. Cratchit and Tiny Tim and Fezziwig and all the ghosts and Jacob Marley and all the things going on there. But in his other books, too, Oliver Twist and David Copperfield, and even his small, the Cricket on the Hearth, another Christmas short story people don't really associate like they do a Christmas Carol. But Dickens' ability to bring these memorable, unbelievable, unforgettable characters is why I believe he's just so great and above everybody else. So we're going to do a deep dive here into the video versions, and we're going to do the rated series 5-1, as we usually do with music. So here we go. And as I do in my rated series for music, number 5 is really great. It's a good, solid story, in this case, a video, a movie, cartoon, whatever. And number 1 is phantasmagorical, the best of the best. I don't believe in the hundreds and the 200s and all that. I can't fathom that. And we usually have some on mentions. The on mentions is where I struggled. And my good buddy Jeff, the musical wizard, the musical encyclopedia, we shared during this past week or so, that he picked up A Christmas Carol at the book, the story, and he had not read it in a very, very long time. I think he said 40 years, and he read it, and he enjoyed it, and he made some great observations. And one of the things, and there's a lot of these versions. None of these versions are perfect. None of these versions follow the book, the factually, line by line, and hit all the cylinders of being an exact duplicate of what Dickens wrote. Some of them come close, but there's flaws in all of them. But Jeff made the observation that he felt some of the staves, and they are named staves rather than chapters, because the name of the book is A Christmas Carol. So Dickens named them staves, which is genius. And Jeff made the observation that some of the staves, particularly the last, seem rush, and that could be. I mean, Dickens, and we'll go into this when I do my deep dive podcast, but Dickens was under financial stress and he's trying to get this thing done. He started to write it in November and he's pacing London and trying to get this thing all worked out to get it published in time for Christmas to maybe save his financial situation. And it sold out on the first printing. He hired a great illustrator, which I believe his last name was Leach. It might be John Leach. And I do this from my memory here. So, and he insisted on a fancy book cover and fine leather. And he really lost money on the first printing, but of course made it up later on. But Jeff made the observation it seemed rushed. And maybe, I'm not going to doubt Charles Dickens, but one of the key points, the pet peeves of Paulie on a lot of these movie versions, it's not a novel, it's a novella. So it's approximately 27 to 28,000 words, I think. Once more, I'm doing it from memory. A novel really doesn't hit to be a novel, and that's under dispute, but till about 50,000 words. This is not a novel, it's a novella. And Dickens might have been worried about printing costs and word count and the pages and such. I don't know. Or maybe that's just the way he wanted to write it. But it's a great observation by Jeff. So right away on some of these video versions, when they say adapted from the classic novel, the novel by Charles Dickens, they already messed it up in my mind. It's not. It's like the folks that say, our democracy here in the United States of America. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional federal republic. It's a form of democracy, but we're a republic. It's right on the Pledge of Allegiance. So that's a little pet peeve of mine. But a number of these video versions, right away, as soon as it says based upon the novel by Charles Dickens, my heart gets a little sad. So the honorable mentions, I did the best I could to try to accept the Muppets Christmas Carol. And my buddy Jeff there, he worked in a movie house at one time. I think he said when this was actually released for movies. So Jeff saw it 100, repeat every time he worked a shift. And he grew very fond of it. And he recommended it last Christmas. And I bought the DVD and I bought it used and I gave it a watch. And I went in there with a reluctant heart, and I told Jeff, I was like, it's okay, but I don't really like it. So this Christmas, I did my best to, when I was formulating this podcast, and I do a lot of research on my rated series. I just don't do this. I rewatch everything. If it's music I'm rating, I listen to the music to put it fresh in my mind. Watched all these versions, trying to capture all the nuances and do the best I can on rating them. So I gave the Muppet Christmas Carol another spin, hoping to slip it in there on the on-mention. And I got about 10 minutes into the movie, and I just shut it off. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't get over the Muppet thing. I can't get over Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat. And I like certain parts of it. The mice are bookkeepers, and the Happy Cratchit with Kermit the Frog. And Michael Caine, I know he said he tried to act like he was acting with humans and not with Muppets/puppets. And I don't like Michael Caine's performance. No, I just couldn't get through it. I'm sorry. I know it's a family favorite. It's a classic. It doesn't make the on-mention. I hope I don't get visited by 4 ghosts on Christmas Eve, but I knocked it off the list. Sorry, Muppets. So I looked around for another on-mention. I resurrected. I looked at different versions. Some of them were so awful I couldn't get through the first 5 minutes, and then I stumbled upon rewatching Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, which as a young boy was a favorite of mine. And it's got the great soundtrack by, I think it's Jules Stein and Mr. Merrill. And it's got the Broadway and the Mr. Magoo. And some of the songs are entertaining and the animation's fun. And I was like, it's good and it's fun, but it's not what I remember. So Magoo got knocked off the list too. And then I resurrected 1938 Reginald Owen. And I watched that. And obviously it's quite dated. It's old. And the performances are okay, but the relationship between Scrooge and Cratchit is almost like adversarial. They're like, I was like, no, this didn't make it. So I remembered for those that grew up in New Jersey and northern Jersey, New York City area, Connecticut, Fairfield County, on WPIX Channel 11. Usually on this day, the Saturday before Christmas, or even sometimes after Christmas, there was a version of A Christmas Carol that was a cartoon. And I remember it vividly as being fantastic animation and really, really entertaining. So I went on a search for that and I found it and I rewatched it. And I was like, haha, here we go. So I found it was a made for television cartoon animated, and it was first broadcast December 21st in 1971. And I remember watching it on WPIX Channel 11, like around 5 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon. It would come up in the TV guide, and I would make sure I watched it every year. And it's just fantastic animation. And ironically, as Scrooge replaying his role from the great movie, Alastair Sim is Scrooge's voice, and Michael Hordern is Marley's ghost. He reprises his role as Marley's ghost. And the animation is fantastic. I particularly love the ghost of scary specter, the shrouded figure going across the graveyard and all that. And it's fantastically done. And I rewatched it. It's readily available. I watched it on a big YouTube video machine. And then when I checked into it, so in 1972, it won the Academy Award for the Best Animated Short Film. The animation is so good. And it was considered a release for theatrical, so that's why it qualified for the Academy Award. So it won the Academy Award for the Best Animated Short Film. It's fantastic. Check it out. So that makes my on mention. Yes, I finally found one. Thank you. It's simply called Christmas Carol. It's a British-American animated adaptation. So check that out, and that's my on mention. So there we go. So at number 5, we have Patrick Stewart's version of A Christmas Carol. And right on the DVD cover, I have it in my hand right now. Here it is. Based on the novel by Charles Dickens. So right then and there, Paulie's like, okay. And I've watched this many times, and I watched it on Wednesday of this past week, and it's certainly very, very good. And I like Patrick Stewart as an actor, the Star Trek and all the other stuff he's done. And I know he did this as a one-man show, and he has his own style, and he's played Scrooge many times, and even before they did this. And this is a TV release, of course, and Hallmark Entertainment. And I like the supporting cast. It's really good. The ghosts aren't bad. I like the Bob Cratchit guy. He's really good. The Tiny Tim's not super annoying. My problem with this, even though Patrick Stewart gives a really good performance, and it's fairly factual and in line with the actual story, my problem is 2 scenes in this movie. And Patrick Stewart just did not do a good job. And number 1 scene I have a problem with is the initial meeting of the ghost of Jacob Marley when Marley appears at Scrooge's house. And Patrick Stewart I don't know how to describe it, but he's like super relaxed. Here's the ghost of his former partner, and they don't have the chains and all that coming up. I think they ring the bells and the ghost appears. And Patrick Stewart's like sitting down. At first, he's a little scared, discounts it as being indigestion or all that. He's not a drinker, so he doesn't say he had too much to drink and he's half in a bag. But it's almost like he's sitting down having a couple beers with this guy. I mean, this is a ghost. This is your former partner in front of you. And he's just like laissez-faire about it and just sitting there. And he's like, ah, you're just a blob of cheese. You're just indigestion. And he burps a little bit and all that. It's poorly acted. I'm sorry. He's a great actor. And I don't like, he should be scared out of his pajamas. And the other versions, the folks are. The actors are. The Scrooges are. I don't like his portrayal in that scene. The other scene that really grinds my gears, and the rest of it's not too bad. It's good. I put it at number 5, so it must be good. So, is at the end after his redemption, and he gets dropped off back in his bedroom, and the ghost of Christmas future is gone, and he wakes up and he's hugging his bedpost or whatever, and he hasn't laughed in a long time because he's Scrooge and he's a grump, and he's happy. He's thrilled that he didn't miss Christmas Day, and he has a second chance and all that yakety smacky. And he tries to make like he's laughing, and it starts in his throat, and then it kind of is like almost like he, for lack of a better word, he has a bad stomach and is chucking up. And this laugh comes out. It's a horrible scene. I don't like it. It's forced. It's not good, and it's just that's why I knocked this to number 5. Other than that, I like it. So number 5, despite those little nuances, it's not too bad. We put Patrick Stewart, Christmas Carol, at number 5. And number 4, maybe I have a soft spot because I did the same thing with a New Jersey Christmas Tale, New Jersey Christmas Carol. Number 4 here, number 4 is An American Christmas Carol with Henry Winkler, the Fonz. And I always found it ironic, the phrase jumping the shark comes from Happy Days when they were at the end of the road and they didn't know what else to do with the Fonz, and he jumps these man-eating sharks or something on his motorcycle. It's always it's considered goofy. So when you're out of ideas, the phrase is, as a writer or an actor or a musician or whatever, when you're out of ideas and creativity, you record something Christmas. You write a Christmas story, you do a Christmas movie. You record a Christmas album. It's called Jumping the Shark. So here's the Fonz, Henry Winkler doing a Christmas thing. And I love this. It's a made-for-TV thing, so it's a little short and it's a little uneven. They go to commercial breaks and try to edit the best. But it is so well done. It's so well acted. I got over the fact that Henry Winkler is the Fonz and always will be the Fonz. He gives a great performance in this. The makeup to make him look like an old grump is kind of overdone, but it's based in the Depression in Concord, New Hampshire. And I spent some time in Concord. I lived a few miles north of there for a number of years, and I know New Hampshire really well. So that kind of hit home. Although this was all filmed in Canada, and you could tell some of the actors and actresses, they got the Canadian boot and boot and things going on. And Henry Winkler knocks it out of the park here. I just think he gives a great performance. They adapt it and make the ghosts really intertwined into the storyline. The supporting cast, his little romantic interest, she's really pretty and she's really good. And his character is called Benedict Slade, and he's a real meanie. And he's a businessman, and he's got the only money in town during the Depression, and the story of how he achieved that money is really captivating. And of course, his Bob Cratchit, his sidekick, he cans him. He sacks a guy on Christmas Eve as he goes around, repossesses people's belongings, and it's really good. And I highly recommend American Christmas Carol. I particularly like the ghost of future, the spirit of Christmas in the future here. He's amazing. The actor is really, really good, and he does a great job of being kind of sympathetic to Benedict Slade and his position. Particularly the graveyard scene is really well acted, both by Christmas in the Future as well as Henry Winkler. So I highly recommend An American Christmas Carol. That comes in at number 4. And now we get to number 3. And I flip-flopped and I dissected, and I went back and re-watched a number of the videos, and I finally settled upon this. And it's George C. Scott in his version of A Christmas Carol. And I had this at number 2, and then I put it to number 3, and I flip-flopped it with the number 2, and then I it just was very tough. So I think this is a very faithful version to the book, but there's 2 strikes, and maybe that's why I put it number 3. In the opening scene, the name of the story is A Christmas Carol. And it's based upon the young carolers, the young boys who come and sing outside of Scrooge's office on Christmas Eve, trying to get a few baubles and a few coins, and they sing a Christmas carol. And of course, Scrooge gets mad and chases them off. Well, in the George C. Scott version, there's no Christmas carolers. They entirely skipped that part. So that stuck in my mind. And there's also no charity guys that come to the office. Fred, his nephew, comes to the office on Christmas Eve, invites him to dinner and all that stuff. But the charity guys don't show up. And the carolers don't show up. He meets the charity guys at the stock exchange later on. And that really bothered me because the name of the story is A Christmas Carol. How could you skip over that part? It just didn't really stick well with me. But as far as a performance goes, I think extenuating circumstances made me put it at number 3, but I can easily make the argument that George C. Scott's performance is the best Ebenezer Scrooge portrayal. He's fantastic. I mean, he's very shrewd, he's calculating, he's a businessman. He's not so much mean, he is mean, but he's like business, and he's calculating. He's really good at business. Does he mistreat Cratchit and other people? Yeah. Is he a money bully? Yes. But his performance is very professional. Even after his redemption, when he wakes up and he's very happy and he jumps around a little bit and I think he says, I'm as giddy as a drunken man. And he does a great job there. But when he goes out to the window and finds the young boy, and he hires him to go get the turkey, and the poulterer comes, and they do the business deal. George C. Scott, his Scrooge, is all dressed up in fine attire, and he looks very handsome and very professional. And he sends the turkey off to Cratchit's, and he says, don't tell him who delivered it. Very much like the book, this version is probably one of the only versions, video versions, where Scrooge doesn't show up at Cratchit's house. He delivers a turkey, and Bob Cratchit and his family don't even know where it came from. It's anonymous. But then Scrooge goes on a stroll through the streets of London, and he's very, very nice, and he's very happy, and he's very cordial, and he says, Merry Christmas to everybody, and he's dressed in his fine attire with his cane. So even in his redemption, he's still controlled, and he's still calculated, but he's happy, and he's redeemed. Amazing performance by George C. Scott. He's a fantastic actor. Of course, Patton and the Academy Award and all that. And he shows up at Fred's house, and even his interactions with his nephew and his newfound love, and he meets the wife and all this, and they talk about the game and tight as a drum instead of tight as Uncle Scrooge's wallet. But he's under control. And he's really a believable Scrooge in the fact that he was a miser and he was mean and he was a money bully, but he really believed he was a great businessman, and he was. And he made a lot of money. And now he's a nice guy, but he's still under control. And unlike Patrick Stewart, when Marley shows up and the other ghosts show up, he's very, very, not super afraid, but he's certainly frightened when Marley shows up, and he gives a great performance. And the other item I want to mention that put this over the top is the performance of Edward Woodward as the Ghost of Christmas Present. I believe he's the best Ghost of Christmas Present in any of these video versions. Fantastic performance, the way he throws the word back at Scrooge, are there no poorhouses? Are there no prisons? Blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic. He's a great actor. It's a great interaction between him and George C. Scott, 2 great actors. The best Ghost of Christmas Present, Edward Woodward. So I put it at number 3. Number 2. Number 2 is the Alastair Sim version, Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. And Once more, like the George C. Scott performance, there's no question Alastair Sim is a fantastic Ebenezer Scrooge. And what's ironic is Mr. Sim was mostly known as a comedy person, a comedian, a comic. And he played a lot of comedy roles in the movies and his theater. And here he uses his comedy to a certain extent and his comedy background and his comic abilities, particularly in his face gestures and his actions. And what I really like about Alastair Sim and his version and his portrayal is he's super mean. I mean, I went back and rewatched this one about 2 hours before I recorded this, just to refresh it in my mind. And the opening scenes are fantastic. I mean, he is mean, and he mistreats everybody. The carolers who are in front of his office as he comes in, and he gets rid of them, and he destroys the poor charity guys. He destroys Cratchit, and then poor the nephew shows up, and he kind of efficiently dispatches his nephew. And what's great about Sim is, and maybe because of his comic abilities, his voice is so unique, and he's very clipped. He delivers his lines in a very clipped fashion, and he comes across as, "Don't waste my time. This is the story. I'm mean. Get out of here. Go away. Leave me alone," type thing. And his delivery is amazing. And of course, later on, and I love the melancholy tavern scene. The melancholy tavern scene is not mentioned or shown in any other version, and I remember. Definitely mentioned in the book, and I'm doing it from my memory. Scrooge dined in his usual melancholy tavern with his melancholy meal. And in this version, Scrooge is huddled over his meal, and he's got this meager little piece of bread and a little cup there, and he says, "Waiter." And the waiter hustles by. He says, "More bread." And the waiter says, "I have to charge you for it." And Scrooge's eyes go back and forth, and Sim's facial gestures, and he's like, "No bread." He won't cough up a couple of coins to have more bread. Fantastic scene. Shows you what a miser. He doesn't even want to spend money on his own nutrition. Fantastic scene. Fantastic. And really well played. And unlike, very much like George C. Scott, Sims is scared out of his pajamas by the Marley ghost. And he starts to get very frightened when he sees the door knocker, and he's on his guard ever since he sees the transformation of the door knocker. So great Marley in this one. The only thing what bothered me a little bit is the whole Fezziwig thing, where Marley and Scrooge hook up as business partners early on, and then eventually take over Fezziwig's operation. And I found that kind of weird. Fezziwig rides away in his carriage, seeing his business taken over by these mean guys. And I don't know. I just didn't. That scene didn't sit well with me at all. The ghosts are so here. The ghost of Christmas past, I can kind of do without him. Christmas presents pretty good, and the future, all right. But the performance by Sim is certainly fantastic. The Cratchit character is a little too mild for me. There's a number of scenes where I guess he's so beleaguered and so beat up by Scrooge, he wrings his hands together nervously, and he just seems like such a meek, mellow guy, and he's a happy guy and all that, but a little too much, in my opinion. But and of course, the redemption scene is perfectly suited for Alastair Sim and his comedy background. And he probably does the best job of any of the Scrooge in the redemption scene by dancing around all happy. And that's right up Mr. Sim alley, doing comedy for all those years. And he just does a fantastic job. So number 2 is the classic of classics, the Alastair Sim version of A Christmas Carol. And that's number 2. So here we go. We're at number 1. Ho, ho, ho. Let me get the finely tuned instrument. Number 1 is Scrooge, the musical. Albert Finney starring as Scrooge. And oh wow, this one is a favorite of mine, and I find it unusual because I'm not a musical guy. I just don't like musicals. I really don't. But this one is so good and so amazing and so much fun. Any of the horrible songs like Tiny Tim's little song there, which is a little cringy, it's offset by just how much fun it is. And the Albert Finney performance is just simply amazing. In my opinion, I know some people don't like it. I love it. And Albert Finney, to me, one of my favorite actors. I love him in Skyfall when James Bond goes back to the estate and the Albert Finney character is still there and he recruits him. You know, he's like the caretaker guy and he's known Bond since he was a kid. And the bad guys are coming and they come and then Albert Finney's got his shotgun and he blasts the bad guy and he says, "Welcome to Scotland." But Albert Finney was just a fantastic actor, so many great roles. And I researched it and was very, very disappointed and surprised. He never won any Academy Awards. He was, and how he didn't win in 1970 for Scrooge, and he wasn't even nominated. John Wayne won the Academy Award for True Grit. I mean, we can't argue with John Wayne, but Albert Finney was not even nominated. He won a Golden Globe. And this movie, when it was released in the 70s era, I think it's either 70 or 71, it was a hit on. It was released and played in Radio City Music Hall initially before it was released to other movie houses, and it was a huge hit. And then it dropped down a little bit, and it came back right before Christmas. Was a huge hit. He's just amazing. The way he bends his body over, and he talks out of the side of his mouth, and he's mean. And I love the scene in his offices on Christmas Eve, and he's counting the money, and he's counting the money, and he's moving the money to the safe. And you look at his fingernails, and he's all dirty, and he's unkept, and his hair is unkept. He doesn't care about anything but money. And Albert Finney knocks it out of the park. No, he can't sing, and but the songs that they have, he doesn't have to sing. And then he goes around and he's got the "I hate people" song. And he's going through the neighborhood and he's chasing people away. And in the Dickens book, it's even the blind beggar, the dog, who's the seeing eye dog for the blind beggar, knows Scrooge is coming and takes his master and runs him off before Scrooge comes. So that scene is fantastic. The setting's really good and he makes the rounds and he's collecting money from people and they hide and they got Tom the soup man. And of course, who can forget Thank You Very Much, that song. It's like Mr. Blue Sky. It's like Can't Get It Out of My Head by ELO. Once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head. And he's dancing around and thank you very much, not realizing that they're celebrating that he's gone. But for me, and there's all kinds of great nuances, it's just so much fun. But for me, the scene that made this number one and showed the remarkable emotions of the transformation of Scrooge from the mean miser and a great depiction and portrayal by Mr. Albert Finney is the ending scene. And he buys this Santa Claus suit and is dancing and they're parading through the streets of London. And he's delivering toys and wine and all these things. And he comes back to his house and he's going to have dinner with Fred and his family. And he takes the beard off and he puts it around the door knocker on the door. And he's praising Jacob Marley and thanking Marley for his intervention in his life. And the emotion and the performance by Albert Finney almost makes you forget that this is a fun musical. And he embraces the door knocker and he says, "I'm going to have dinner, Christmas dinner with my family." His forgotten family, the family that he neglected because Fred, his beloved sister, gave birth to Fred and she died in childbirth, very much like Scrooge's own story himself, where his father turned him away for the same reason. And the eye-opening experience that he's not alone. He has Cratchit and he has Fred and he has Fred's family and his wife and his friends. It's fantastic. It's so well acted by Albert Finney, and it's such a perfect closing scene. Fantastic. So there we go. That's Paulie's rated series. So to recap, we got the on mention of the animated cartoon 1971-72. Check that out. And then we got Patrick Stewart coming in at number 5. We got the Fonz/Henry Winkler with An American Christmas Carol. At number 3, we have George C. Scott. At Christmas Carol, number 2, we have Alastair Sim. And at number 1, the musical Scrooge with Albert Finney. And there we go. There they are, the rated best versions of A Christmas Carol by Paulie. Yay, thank you. So there we go. And we're going to do our best to get all this done and have a wonderful Christmas week and get our business done and get these podcasts recorded. And I hope you have a great, great Christmas, pre-Christmas weekend. And you got all your own friends and families and activities. And you can watch some movies and listen to some Christmas music and dance around the Christmas tree and have just a wonderful time. So I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe check out some of these versions if it's the first time or a rewatch. And hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy from Paterson, New Jersey. I do the best I can here. So, hey, please be kind, be gentle, be very tolerant. It's Christmas. If of all times of the year, be very tolerant. Remember, kindness is for free. Spread it around as much as you can. It can only make this world a better place. So thank you so much for tuning in. Got to get these folks out of here, and we're going to have a great time. I'm going to rewatch some more of these versions just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And that's the fun of it. But hey, we'll see you next time. Let me get my finely tuned instrument here. Bye-bye for now. And here we go with a little silver bells. And that's enough of that. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.